Hi class, this is the analysis of Air Canada 759 taxiway overflight incident. July 7, 2017, Air Canada 759, an Airbus A320 was cleared to land on runway 28 right at San Francisco International Airport, where runway 28 left was closed at the time of the incident. But instead, this plane lined up with parallel taxiway Charlie, which was right next to the runway 28 right. There were 4 aircrafts on taxiway Charlie waiting for the clearance to take off from runway 28 right. Air Canada flight descended to an altitude of 100 feet above ground level and overflew the first airplane on the taxiway. Then the crew on 759 initiated a go-around and the airplane reached a minimum altitude of about 60 feet and overflew the second airplane on the taxiway before starting to climb. No one on board of Air Canada 759 was injured and the airplane was not damaged. Anyone who watched this footage of the incident or read about it without any background information would have a question now. Were they not aware of the airport layout or runway closure? Did they not use the navigational aids as a backup? The answer is no. They didn't know about the closure of runway 28 left, which made them have inappropriate mental representations in spite of real-world evidence, and eventually led them to lose the situational awareness. They must have known about the airport layout because the pilot operated same route recently. But his biased confirmation without considering the runway closure made him believe taxiway Charlie was runway 28 right and mistook runway 28 right as runway 28 left. It is their critical error not knowing the essential information for landing and plan ahead accordingly. What about the navigational aids? They could have used ILS for backup lateral guidance. If they did, they would have known something was wrong when they lined up with the taxiway. The reason they didn't realize that they were approaching to taxiway is that the first officer didn't comply the procedure for the approach to runway 28 right. He was supposed to tune the ILS frequency for runway 28 right manually for the backup during the visual approach procedure, but missed this. The captain, who was required to review and verify first officer's programming, didn't comply the procedure either. This incident is evidently caused by a human error. They could have learned about the runway closure before the flight through a NOTAM and mentally prepared. Well, they must have, but they didn't include this during their pre-flight briefing. Also, this NOTAM information was included to ATIS, but both of flight crew failed to record this specific information when it was needed. In addition to this, poor cross-check and captain's distraction during first officer's landing role should be questioned. However, we cannot rule out the fatigue issue. At the time of the incident, the captain had been awake for more than 19 hours, 12 hours for the first officer. With having navigated through an area of thunderstorm and operating against their normal body clock time, which was around 3 a.m., fatigue could be a threat which caused the crew's error. In every incident, there's something we can learn from. Now we know that fatigue is something we have to look out to operate safe flight. and it should be reminded to the airlines and the schedulers as the ultimate goal for all of us is the safe operation of the flights. Planning a flight with all useful information gathered and being prepared for any possible threats are flight operators' responsibility. We check NOTAMs and listen to edits in every flight, but we will have to remember we do this routine job to collect usable and essential information for the safe flight, not just for the sake of following the procedure. There were some visual and audio cues indicating they've lost situation awareness, which is the imminent threat. United Flight 1 captain transmitted over the tower frequency saying, "He's on the taxiway." And at the same time, Philippine Airline 115 turned on the airplane's landing gear and nose light to give a warning to Air Canada. However, not knowing the information of runway closure, the crew assumed runway right as runway left and believed taxiway Charlie, runway 28 right. They acted in the wrong scene and seek cues confirming their expectations. As a pilot, it is important to have an accurate understanding of what is happening around us and what is likely to happen in the near future throughout the flight. I'd like to emphasize throughout, as there was a moment that the first officer was focusing on programming the misapproach procedure, and this extended hands-down time was pointed out as a reason for the crew's prolonged loss of situational awareness. Without maintaining good situational awareness, we cannot recognize the threats in time. And without identifying the threats accurately, we cannot make a good decision when it is required. Lastly, what could also help raise pilots' situational awareness was more effective runway closure signal. It was night flight where the bright lights from the aircraft and runway lights could distract pilot's view. Also, if there's airport surface detection equipment systems to detect potential taxiway landings and provide alert to the controller, the Air Canada would have avoided to overfly taxiway Charlie with minimal safety margins.